Welcome to another episode. Today we're going to be looking at for and while loop in TypeScript. All right, for and while loop in TypeScript. So we're going to look at how we can loop in TypeScript. That is looping and adding types to our looping. All right. So let's proceed. So what is loop? A loop is used to repeat a block of code multiple times. So a loop is performing a particular block of code multiple times. So most times in loops there's a condition, right? And except that condition is reached, the code will continue to be run repeatedly. So that's what loops are. Let's begin with our for loops. Let's go ahead with for loops. For loops. So let's go ahead and just write the syntax for our for loops. Okay, so let's write for loops. We'll come here and say, okay, so have our for. So this is the formula for for loops. Here we have initialization, semicolon, not comma. Okay, semicolon. Then next we have our condition. So this is the syntax. Then next we have our increment or decrement. So in loop in for loops, all right, in for loops, it continues to loop except a particular condition is met. So i- if that condition is not met, the looping continues. And in order to prevent an infinite loop, we use increment or decrement to determine the looping. All right, to determine the looping. So I'm going to go ahead and do an example here. It's okay. Let's loop through a number. We'll come and say, okay, so 4. So here we'll initialize the number. Say let I be equal to let I be equals to 1. All right. Then we'll say, okay, the condition is we will now have the condition want I. So one is I should be less than or equal to 5. So I is 1 now. And our condition is that, okay, want I to be less than or equal to 5. So it means that I that is 1 should get to a point where I is less than or equal to 5. All right. So as such, this I is 1, talking about it means that we'll be incrementing in order to achieve that. For us to achieve a result where I becomes 5, it means that we have to increment. So it will be I plus plus. All right. It will be I plus plus. All right. So then I will now have, you can just give space here so for more clarity. Come here and say, okay, console the log. So what I'm saying is you're trying to move I from 1 to 5. All right, not greater than 5, less than or equal to 5. All right. So once we do that, it means that we are incrementing means we are adding. So for us to, we need to type I. So I'll make sure that I had the type of number. So that's the TypeScript aspect. We type our I to give it. So I cannot be a string. I cannot be anything else aside the number. So we need to type I to be a number here. So this is where the typing comes. So this will initialize I. So this will add the types. All right. So our type here, we're giving the I. We are initializing. We are saying I must be a number. I must be a number. So this is as simple as this. Okay, so let's go ahead and run this. Let's see if this looping would work or is possible. So come ahead. For us to do that, we have to compile. Go ahead and compile. So I think compilation is successful. So it has looped successfully. All right, so it moved from 1 to I. So like I said, looping is performing a particular block of code again and again, putting a condition at hand. So if the condition is met, the looping stop. But if the condition is not met, the looping continues again and again and again and again and again. All right, continues again and again. So let's loop through. Let's loop through a string. Let's loop through an array. Let's loop through an array. Okay, let's just go ahead and just do for while loop first of all, or just okay loop through particular. Let's loop through. Okay, let's say we want to check what cups here from 2026 to 2100. So I want to check the year if the World Cup we hold between 2026 and 20,100. You know, we will have a World Cup we're holding this year 2020. So I want to check, okay, from 2026 to 21 to 2100, sorry, what year and what year will the World Cup be holding? For us to do that, we are incremental. So we'll come and say, okay, for, let's say, okay, World Cup, let's initialize, let's World Cup year is equals to 2026. So this is it. So here we must initialize, okay, World Cup year must be what? A number. Very important. This is a number, so we've typed it. So we want to loop through from 2026 to 2000. So we'll come and say, okay, the condition is World Cup year will be less than or equal to 21,100. All right, for us to achieve that, we'll have to increment it. And don't forget, the World Cup happen once in 4 years. So we have to add by 4. So we'll come in to be like, okay, World Cup year plus equal to 4. It means we're adding by 4. All right. So let's come and we'll say, okay, console the log. We'll say the world the World Cup we hold will be held we hold just I want to just create a perfect sentence. We hold in the year, no, can I get our World Cup here? All right, perfect. So this is going to work perfectly. All right. So we come and let's see. Don't forget it's typed as number. So we come and let's compile. So if we compile now, so let's see what we're going to have. You see that? So from 2026, so the work will be holding in 2026, which we'll have this year. The next time to be holding 2030, 2034, and it looped through successfully to 2098. So let's say we even want the looping to go backward. Let's say we want the looping to go backward. How are we going to do that? Let it loop backward. So let's like we are decrementing. So let's go ahead further. Let's comment what we have so far. It doesn't interfere with our code. So this multi-line comment. So let's say okay, check the number, the year, elections. Okay, elections has held in Nigeria from 1999. So the first election in Nigeria was held in 1999. So let's check from 1999 to 2006. What and what year was election hold? Nigeria has a 4-year window for a new election. So go ahead and do that. So come and say, okay, for now say let's say election year. All right. So I initialize this. So we have to put the let election year be equal to 1999. All right. And then the condition. Okay, let's see. We want to check from 2026 backward actually. 2026. We want to check back to 1999 and check what and what year the election holds. So say okay, we are checking condition. We'll look from 2026 down. So say okay, election year. Okay, will be greater than or equal to 1999. All right. So this is the conditional election is greater than or equal to 1999. Then for us to do that, they will have to decrement. What are we're decrementing backwards. So come here, election year, we're decrementing by 4. Since election host every 4 years minus equal to 4. So this is it. All right. So come here, console the log. You say okay, elections, elections were held in this year in Nigeria. In this year, in the year, in the year. So let's get in the year. So now get the year, which is election year. In the year, election year in Nigeria. Perfect. So this is the perfect. So let's see how this is going to look like. So let's recompile. Let's recompile and see what we're going to get here. So come here, reload. You see, it has moved. Oh, I should have used our last election was actually. Um, oh, this is not too accurate. Let me see where we missed it. So election was held. The last election was held in 2023 actually. So we changed it 2023 down to 1999. This is perfect. All right. So we come here. Let's recompile again. So it's going to give us an actual. So we come here. Perfect. Okay, still reloading. Good. So election was held in the year 2023, the one that brought Tinubu in. The last was held second term for Buhari. Then 2022 was Buhari's first tenure. 2011 was Jonathan's tenure actually. 2027 was Yar'Adua's tenure. 2023 was Obasanjo's second tenure. 1990 was Obasanjo's first tenure when Nigeria began her democracy. So this is perfect. All right. This is perfect. So this is it. All right. Don't forget, we look through. Okay. Let's assign. So you can either type this by giving number here, or else it can be properly typed and be safe. All right. So let's go ahead and check for the next is our while loop. So the while loop works similarly like the for loop, just that the while loop here it has a different syntax. All right. The while loop has a different syntax. So let's go ahead and just the while loops have a different syntax. So this is the while loop. This is how the while loops operate. So here we have the initialization comes here. All right. Then next we have our while. We'll have the condition here, addition. Then we'll now have our parentheses, curly braces, and now hold console the log outcome, outcome. This contain outcome. Then we'll now say okay, increment. So while loop function like the for loop, just that in while loop here, the arrangement is different. So that's the only thing is in the arrangement is different. Let me comment this so I can have something accurate. Let's comment this so it doesn't interfere with our code here. No, perfect. All right, so we come here. So let's go. So like I said, we come here. So okay, why? So I want to repeat this election here using the while loop. All right, I want to repeat this election here. So we loop through to find the election using the while loop. So I'll come. It's just the same, just different. No, while loop have initial election. So we'll come here and say okay, let election here be equal to okay, we say 2023. We can now okay, this should be a number. Okay, sorry, this is not supposed to be here. It's supposed to be here actually. So sorry. Number. Perfect. Properly typed. All right. So next will now be our why. We say why. So what's the condition? We want to loop from 2023 down to 1999. What and what year were elections? So we say okay, election year will be greater than or equal to 1999. All right. Perfect. Then we now have here. We say okay. console.log election are held. And I think let me copy this. Like this election. Right then, on that you cannot have your increment. It will be like it's not be election year minus you are decrementing a minus equal to, all right. So let's see whether this is gonna work. Let's run this. So say let's compile. Okay, so this has successfully looped. You know it's the same thing, so it has successfully looped actually. All right, and it gives us the same output. So for loop and while loop work similarly, actually just different arrangement, different syntaxes. All right. So thank you for joining us. See you some other time.